What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to The Drop. And this week we have some pretty awesome games coming out. Nothing really huge, but definitely some stuff worth mentioning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So kicking things off, we have LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, which pretty much comes to everything under the sun. You've got the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, the PC, the 3DS, the Vita. Pretty much anything that is on the market today you can play this game on, which is definitely impressive since it does cater to some audiences that might not necessarily be able to afford the newest generation of consoles, and these games aren't really that power heavy. It doesn't take that much to run a LEGO game. So within LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, you are going to be playing through the events of the movie that came out in 2015, but on top of that, you are going to be getting some details as to what happened between Episode 6 and Episode 7 in the Star Wars universe, which has largely been untouched. Obviously, we know some major plot points and whatnot, but no details have really been shared, and some missions are going to be set in that time period, so that's going to be cool for Star Wars fans. So now, as you can expect, there are going to be a ton of characters and a ton of vehicles to help you get around Jakku and the Starkiller base, and it's always fun to kind of combine characters that normally wouldn't be on screen together. That's one of the things that draws a lot of people into these LEGO games and does keep them sticking around just to try out different combinations and explore the possibilities. But aside from that, there are a couple of mechanics changes, some AI adjustments that make them more intelligent. They can now use actual blocks to build reinforcements, some cool stuff here and there, but overall it's the standard LEGO experience included with that Star Wars The Force Awakens story, and that is coming out this week on, like I said, pretty much everything. So next up, we've got Resident Evil 5 coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and this game originally came out in 2009, so back then I didn't really have money for any kind of new games, and I certainly didn't have a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360, so whenever I would go to GameStop, you know, my mom would be going to the Chico's next door, and then I would walk into GameStop to look around for like 10-15 minutes or whatever. This is one of those games that I would just lust over because it looked so good. I would watch videos on this one, and whenever I finally got my PlayStation 3, I believe it was that Christmas, this is one of those games that I immediately went and downloaded the demo because it looked and played so well. So obviously my sense of what was good and what played well was probably a bit jaded back then because of my scenario and the situation that I was in, but that being said, it does seem like this new re-release on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One brings that memory back to life, because obviously you've got your 1080p 60 frames a second that you would come to expect from a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, but on top of that you've also got a couple of new features. One big one is the No Mercy mode that was originally included as a PC exclusive mode, which pretty much allows the Mercenaries mode to be played with more characters on screen and for a longer duration, and that could only be achieved with the power of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 simply couldn't keep up with. So speaking of the Mercenaries mode, there were two different Mercenaries modes whenever the game was first released. One was for the base game characters, and one was for the DLC characters, if I understand this correctly. So those have been combined into one mode called the Mercenaries United. So whenever you load up the game, don't be surprised whenever you see this weird Mercenaries mode and No Mercy included in this new version of the game. That's simply just the way they chose to do things, and I feel like that was a pretty good choice. But for those that never played Resident Evil and you want to get in on all of this, the base game and the DLC has been remastered for this package, and it's coming out digitally this week, and it's coming out later in July as a physical release, so keep your eye out for that one. So next up, from the creators of Limbo comes Inside, which is being released on the Xbox One this week. Now, as far as details to the story, there aren't that many out there because this is certainly one that should be experienced rather than talked about, and they haven't really put that much out there as to what you will actually be doing. But as far as the art style goes that we can kind of see from the E3 trailer, it certainly looks to have that same kind of Limbo vibe where it's not really creepy or scary, but it certainly does have that underlying horror kind of feel to it, and that's something that really engulfs the player, and it engulfed me whenever I played through Limbo for the first time. So for those that are interested in jumping into Playdead's newest project, you might want to try it out on the Xbox One this week, and it's also coming out on Steam in July. So for those PC guys out there, you might be interested in that coming out next month. But as far as Xbox One guys, you can give it a shot this week. So last but not least, a couple of honorable mentions that I thought were worth talking about on the drop, but not necessarily giving a feature. That's just my opinion. You can definitely feel otherwise about these games. But first off, we have Terraria and Axiom Verge coming to the Wii U after seeing incredible success on other platforms. Prison Architect is coming to the Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, and 7 Days to Die is coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, 7 Days to Die I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a warning on. Now, this game basically puts you in the shoes of a survivor who has to gather supplies, fortify his homestead, and defend himself from zombie attacks. However, after looking at some console gameplay of this, I have to admit that it looks very janky. So for those that looked at the PC version of the game and are expecting to get that same kind of experience on console, definitely look at some gameplay before you put your money down on this one, because it is a completely different game, at least from my perspective and opinion, than the PC version of the game, so be wary of that. So there you guys have it. Hope you've enjoyed this edition of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below and share this video so that more people can find the channel. And if you happen to be new here, go over and check out some of my other content, because I do upload new videos like 3 or 4 days a week. I did tons of E3 coverage, and I'm streaming on Twitch, which of course the link is in the description box down below, and you can check out all of that good stuff. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.